Yes, there we go. Look at that beautiful face. Oh my goodness. Heaven high, my lovely sister.
Heaven high to you, my reflection. How are you?
Okay, let me tell y'all what. I am so excited to introduce you to my sister, the drama free drama coach. Now, let me tell you, she says that she does the acting and the writing and the coaching, and she's a creator and she's a prayer warrior but she's also a mom. She's also a
Am.
poet. She's also an artist. She's a whole bunch of stuff. But let me tell you, I want to scoot this in. We used to rap together. Navanya. The power we possess is too big.
It's truly exponential.
Our
Our rising as a
rival
people is
is
essential.
yes. And that was before we both knew who we were. And we were still trying to help people. So that's
Yes.
been continuous the whole time. One of the reasons why I really wanted Navanya on this show is because she goes from within. She speaks to God about everything and she listens before she makes a move. What do you call it? What do you call it? Inspiration.
Yes. In
She's I
spirit. Everything
yes,
is done in spirit.
everything is done in spirit. So Navanya, what do we want to talk about first?
I'm no good. You
Can we,
tell me.
what about this, Navanya? What about this? What
You
about
know, okay, so the color of inspiration, it came out of my experience in For Colored Girls, that was directed by Jasmine Guy.
because she's also
And
an actor?
yes, and so many of the women would come up and they had seen the show as children, and now they were bringing their teenage or adult daughters. And they were talking about how so much of the pain, the struggles, the circumstances in the play were still very present in their own lives. So I knew that I had to create something that would heal sisters in a way that was creative, that was fun, that was easy to integrate in busy, stressful lives.
Yes.
And coloring is what I used to love as a little girl, and I still love it as a big girl now. But, being in the drama therapy space, I've learned the psychological and the clinical benefits of coloring and how very therapeutic it is. So,
Oh, wait
having
a
a
minute, wait a minute. The psychological benefits of coloring?
Indeed. Yes. It reduces the brainwave pattern so that then you have a more relaxed, creative, and receptive system in your brain that
Uh,
allows you to integrate new thought, to shift emotions, to transform pain, those sorts of things. Not to
that makes
mention
sense. Go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
the psychological effects of color. So just seeing a certain color or experiencing it, be it yes in clothing, in your rooms, the walls of your rooms, painting of a picture. You don't have to use colors that are typical. You can literally color outside of the lines, color outside of the box to help you move into other areas of bravery, creativity, insight, so forth.
Wow. A couple of things came to my mind. One is how amazing God is in that everything that we have on our bodies, we can be blessed through it all just
Mm,
by sitting and coloring. Because
yes,
the coloring sounds like it takes my mind away from whatever problems, which is another way to let the blessing come through. But also I can affirm through it as well. Like when you
indeed.
and so you know what I have to do? Because how long have I had this?
A while. And have you colored anything in it,
I
Tangie?
need another one because no one want to color in here. It's pretty. So
What?
So whenever I use it, I'll journal in another book.
Oh
Because I
Lord.
don't want to mess up the pages. It's
Tangie,
so pretty.
it's meant to be used and colored in, and you can draw your own pictures in it. You
But I
got to
don't want to mess
use the
it
book.
up.
Girl, you got to activate the blessing. Faith without works is what? Dead. You got to work it.
So look at this one. So I have to color in it. Are you telling me I have to?
Yes, you have to.
Financial wealth. I mean, I love this book. I, look at this. Love yourself. Looking in the mirror. I love this so wealth. It's just, it's the bomb, but I didn't want to color in it. And even look at where Navanya wrote to me. Look how pretty and poetic her handwriting is. I didn't want to color in it. So you know what? You know what? You know what? I'm gonna start today because
Ashe.
I have been, and Navanya, this is the perfect time because I have been cleansing my life because I'm stepping into my fullness. This is time. This is the moment.
Yes.
Yes. Ah, okay. All right. I'm gonna do it. And then you'll have to come
Okay.
back on and I'll show you all my pictures and my writing
Yes.
and my journaling. Okay.
Yes.
We'll do, and then
Okay.
get another book so I can have one that doesn't have any coloring.
Okay.
So, Vanya, tell me about the art of acting and the healing that you've been doing with people through acting, because you're working with a lot of people. And how did you get into that?
Well, I've been acting since I was 4, like literally. And you probably have the same story where your mama made you come into the living room and you had to
And
do
perform.
voices and
Yes,
perform and put
yes,
on wigs and wrap
yes.
stuff around your head, all of that. So I've been doing that since I was very, very little. And the love of acting just stayed with me throughout. So even though I went to Carolina and majored in broadcast journalism, even while I was there, I was the artistic director of the Ebony Readers Onyx Theater. I did several productions with the theater company there. One of my favorite mentors was the director of the theater department and head of African American Studies. And so I did a play about Nelson Mandela, and I got to play Winnie Mandela, and I
Ooh,
just loved it. It made my soul smile, right? So I have always known that acting will be a part of everything that I do. But even beyond that, I think we all act. You're acting differently here than you're going to act when you get home with your children, then you'll act with your man. We all have different personalities, right? And
yeah.
so learning how to integrate the art of acting into life coaching was a very natural progression for me.
Okay.
And I feel like acting is the definition of faith, calling those things which be not as though they are.
Okay.
That's
Mhm.
what we do as actors, right? So
Mm,
when we empower ourselves to know that we are the leading man or the leading woman of our own lives, and we can look at it in this very creative, natural, organic, fun way, it makes the art of living a lot more fulfilling. And it helps us to have a place to put our pain. As actors, when we go through heartbreak, we can use that in the work. When we go through loss or grief, we can pull on it for a character. And so giving people that kind of power in their own lives has always excited me. And I just happen to be really, really good at it. So when it came time to shift and to expand, you know how you have to create other streams of income as an
yes,
actor, because this
yes,
can be a very passive kind of process, pick me kind of
yes.
thing. And so I wanted to have a more active engagement in how I generate, how I operate, how I manifest, and moving into acting as a healing tool, a coaching tool, an empowerment tool made all the sense, right? So after leaving the children's theater company, I decided to start my own acting class with adult actors. And the level of liberation and clarity and confidence and just emotional freedom that my students would experience, I knew that others outside of the acting community could benefit greatly from. And
Mm,
so that's when I started offering my coaching just, as a life coach, but I have been dubbed as the drama free drama coach because I bring a spirit of peace and a spirit of order versus some of the chaos and ego and so forth that you might see in the more temperamental thespian or artistic person. So
yes.
that's how I got that moniker.
And I believe it was because you were inspired to do this. So you're walking in
Yes.
your calling. Please explain how you hear the inspiration. How do
Mm-hmm.
you, yes.
Well, it comes in very different ways, and God, divine energy source, is constantly speaking, right? So we can have an experience with a dragonfly or a butterfly that completely eases our soul or lets us know you're okay. And
Mhm.
then I can have a profound dream. I dream a lot, very, very vividly, with dialogue and color and movement. And so as soon as I wake up, I dictate into the phone the dream. So therefore, when that happens in real life, I know, okay, this is what spirit was saying. This is confirmation about this or that. Or I can myself meditate on it, pray about it, and then listen for what is the insight or the instruction. And then when I pray, oftentimes I will see certain things and they may play out like a Polaroid snapshot, or it may just be a word, or I might see a person doing or being or having something. And I just have learned how to intuit or listen for and to what that means.
Have you always had that gift?
From my mother telling me, yes, I've had a prophetic insight since a little girl. Like I would say, the telephone's ringing before the phone would ring, and then minutes later it would ring. Or I could tell that someone was coming to the house before they arrived.
Mm.
Little things like that. And then my paternal great grandmother was the community healer. So she would speak in tongues, interpret tongues. She could lay hands on you, remove tumors, headaches, so forth. She would make tinctures and teas. And my father told me that she took me to the river and dipped me in
Oh,
the river when I was but a little girl. So there are these confirmations from family members that I still have not become aware of. Like I didn't have a dream about me being dipped or anything, but the closest awareness that I have is I went to a spiritual retreat and I was really petitioning to get the understanding of my tongues because I've had my prayer language for a very long time. But in
mhm.
terms of being able to understand what I was saying, that was my petition. And I had this very vivid spiritual, like awakened dream. I was awake, but kind of asleep, and I was moving through my grandmother's house. And then I saw my great grandmother give me this ring that had all of these kind of leaves on it, all around it. And after that experience, I could then understand what I was saying, right? And
Wow.
so I called my aunt later and I told her about it. And she said, I remember that ring that Mama Minerva had. Right. So there was like, yeah, this sort of connection between natural knowledge and a supernatural dream or vision.
Yes.
Um, Yeah. And then when my family members,
Thank you. Ah!
yes, when my family members hear me pray, they all say, "Oh, that's Mama Minerva right there. She can pray like Mama Minerva."
Well,
So that's where I get it.
I haven't officially met Mama Minerva, but hi, Mama Minerva, because I have heard you pray, and
Amen.
it's beautiful and powerful. All and it touches your body and goes all the way through your soul, even when um, my callers don't know, but on my 30th birthday, which I'm 56 now, so that's how many years ago?
Wow. Tangie, you look so good, girl. Send me a bottle of your water, boo.
Thank you, thank you, Nevada. On my on my 30th birthday, I had this big party, and I asked the sisters to come first. I wanted them to come a few hours before the men came. And I asked everyone to bring a gift, but I wanted the gift to be something that they had made with their hands or a talent, singing, doing some stand up, something. And my beautiful sister wasn't able to make it, but she sent me this recording.
Are you going to play it?
Look, I had to say that just in case I decided to scoot some of it in there.
Oh my goodness.
Now let me know that my beautiful sister wasn't able to come, but she sent me a video. And when she talks about being inspired, this is a little thing, but this is her. So there was a video that I had done for some group. She took all of my pieces out and put them together because she said, I know if I was in the video, I would want all my pieces to be together. The video starts where you just see all of me, my parts, and then you can watch the video. And then she talked to me, and then she prayed. She prayed, she prayed, she prayed. And recently, like I said, I'm stepping into my fullness. I listened to that prayer and it touched me then. Like
Amen.
it touched me like it was made for me right now. So,
So,
Navanya,
mhm,
one thing that has been going on in the world is there is a lot of reality TV. And I
mm,
must admit, some of it I was watching. I haven't been watching any TV lately. Um, and I know that it is hard for people to get on TV and share their lives. 'Cause that's a lot. I appreciate the fact that you have been helping families. You help women, teenagers, children, families. I don't blame you for letting the men do their thing by themselves because you're a beautiful sister and that can cause a little bit of problems. But they be looking at you and you be talking about the Lord and they can't see. Um, but you counsel these couples on
mhm.
reality shows.
Well, my reality TV work has been a little different than my couple work.
Okay,
So, two separate things of sorts.
things.
But yes, I've had several reality show TV clients who want to make the transition into acting that I have worked with
Oh,
as a drama coach, as
oh,
well as helping some of them to recover from some of the emotional backlash that happens from being on
oh,
reality TV, right?
oh,
Then my couples work primarily has been with the NFLPA, where I literally come as a facilitator to their wellness retreats and I work with the players and their wives.
sorry. I'm sorry. I got excited. I'm like, ooh, NFL retreat. Oh, good. Then you, I got excited. I thought about all the NFL players. Yeah,
But
big
these are the couples retreats. They come in there as
NFL.
couples.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Go
It's a whole different thing. But girl, I have to tell you about something else offline. Just put a pin in this. I'll tell you about that.
ahead.
Okay, so yes.
Put
But one of the things about the NFL players is that 80% of players experience divorce within 3 years of retirement.
Re-
So, yes.
Ooh.
So the Players Association has been much more intentional in terms of supporting them in their transition by pouring into their marriages and committed partnerships.
That's
And
so
I have
good.
yeah, I've been able to be a key part of that. And it's some of the most rewarding work. I mean, I see these great big men just crying. At one experience, the guy, he had to be like 7 feet tall. He looked like a door. And he was like, you had me crying the whole time. And
Oh,
I loved it. He was like from Norway or something. And then I have the wives, they're coming, they're in tears, and they're like, he hasn't looked at me like that since our wedding day.
oh,
And those kinds of moments are just so fulfilling, because, as actors, we show up at a set, we got to play somebody's wife that we don't know. And we have our little breathing exercises and our holding exercises and all of those different games that we play to create chemistry. So
yeah.
I have taken that, expanded it, and created a seminar and wellness experience for real life couples and partners.
That
And
is
that's
so good.
it really, I love that work. So in that sphere, I'm an intimacy coach. And then, I also do the intimacy coordinating, which is a new position now in the film and television industry. So I'm real into the intimacy and the making connections and creating chemistry and really being transparent, vulnerable, and really diving into real intimacy, which is eludes so many of us.
Wow. 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 Now, how did you get into that though?
Well, my coloring book, one of the ladies who she was a player's wife. She was a member of Off the Field, which is like a social and nonprofit organization for the wives, had invited me to be a speaker, right, for a event they were doing here in Atlanta. So I'm there, I'm doing my thing with the wives. The wives are crying, we laughing, we coloring, we into it. And the executives from the NFL Trust happened to be there. And
Wow.
one of them saw my experience and said, do you have anything for couples? And of course, I got a little Asian in my background. I said, yeah, I do that. I got that. I
Yes.
got it.
Yes.
So, but in reality, I had been doing that kind of experience in my acting class, because you have to get rid of those inhibitions in order to be very intimate, very natural, very sensual, very whatever.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I went to Houston. And initially, they had told me 100, right? I thought that meant 50 couples, 100 people. It actually meant 100 couples, 200 people in this one room. Because when I got into the room, I was like, guys, a whole lot, look like a lot more people than 100 people. But the room, I had 2 hours for that experience. And Tangie, the room was absolutely quiet. And I had them hugging each other. I had the women straddled over the men in what I call
Oh,
a straddle hug, and putting their heads on their chests. And we're breathing together and we're saying different affirmations.
oh,
And the energy in the room was just absolutely beautiful. It was magical, right? And there was this one guy, he had to be about, I don't know, he was over his 60s. And he says, I've known this woman over 50 years, and you got her riding on me like Beyonce in front of all of these people. I ain't never felt closer to her than I have now. And he said, young lady, you got something there, you know? And that started my experience with the NFL, and I've been with them now for over 7 years. So they call me to their different retreats when they do them. And before COVID, boy, we were on a roll. I think I did 5. We went to Santa Barbara, Baton Rouge, Miami, New York, New Orleans. I was I was loving it. I was like, Lord, I could do this all
Yeah.
year long. It was
Mhm.
amazing.
I got
It was
chills.
so wonderful to be in these 5-star retreat spaces and resorts, to
Bless it.
be doing work that I love, to be doing work that was received with such gratitude and excitement and expectation, and to have the people so excited to see me come back. And I get on the elevator, and one husband was like, I love that girl right there. I said, it must have been a good night, huh, bro? He was like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
So it is very, very exciting.
you know what I heard? Well, first of all, that made me so happy. Like it made me so happy I could cry just listening to your, I know you just listening. It makes me
Yes.
so happy. But one thing that I heard for my viewers is God is always here to help us.
Mm,
Always. The world, source, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, them, they, her, whatever, is on our side.
indeed.
But we have to do something, just something. Your something was, it was a domino effect. You did the play, which you love doing because that's what you do. But then you were inspired by the play to do the coloring book. So you
Mm,
did the coloring book and you shared it. And then it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. And it rippled. Whoosh. And it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. So if there's something that God is telling y'all to do it. If it's something that's heavy on your heart, that goes to my producer too, who's watching, but y'all can't see. If there's something that's heavy on your heart, do it because God is ready to just take it and run with it.
indeed. It reminds me of when we went to see Pastor Della Reese.
Yes.
Remember, and she said, the woman said that spirit God kept telling her to paint, to paint. And the woman kept just saying, no, I don't want to paint. I don't want to paint. She said, if you hear it that many times, you better paint something. Paint a house, paint your nails, just
Yep.
paint something.
Just paint.
And yes, so if you don't know where to start where you are. If you
Which is
don't have much, start with what you have.
start with what
It's
you have.
Yes, it's just a matter of getting started. I have seen God honor the start. He
Mm,
will make you a finisher if you start, right?
I've seen God honor the start. He will make you a finisher if you start. Amen. Look at yourself, amen. Mhm.
Amen.
Amen. That's how and why I started this podcast. Because well, with me, God had to work a little harder. Because, he's been telling me to do things for years and I would start and then I would book a job and stop. Then I would
Mm.
once the money would run out, then I would start back and then book a job and then stop. So because God loves me so much, he just took all the money away.
To
He
give you
just
plenty of room to do
yes,
in me.
yes, he took everything. He said, "Oh, this
Okay.
is how you need to understand." Okay, and now I'm doing everything. So y'all just start. Navanya, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? Well, actually, I have another NFL experience coming up. Not this month, but the following. I am also doing a experience for a group of women's veterans. They have a nonprofit organization that actually helps other nonprofits that serve veterans to stay afloat and to stay solvent. And so the group of them need to come together for their own release and healing. You know, whenever you serve in the military, there is the possibility or propensity for post traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you are a woman in this experience of life that we have, there
Yes.
can be very real and trying emotional and mental dynamics. So I'm going to come and bless them with the experience of releasing, relaxing, relating, and receiving. And I'll be doing that this month. And I'm also writing. I actually, you mentioned that I am a poet. So I have some card samples that are being introduced to a very prominent card making company. So
Oh,
we're gonna sprinkle a little favor dust on that.
yes. Yes.
Um, and I'm very excited. I think the work that was created was very inspired. It's extremely timely. It's something that can be used all year. It's around the relationship dynamics of urban relationship series is what it's called. But you know, at the heart of it, it's about a black woman and a black man doing all that we can. That's what it
When
is.
all that we
Really,
can.
that's really what it's about. And just restoring black love, celebrating it, realigning it. You know, I have a piece in there that is geared around co-parenting, especially in our dynamic now, because the man could have two or three baby mamas, and how does that translate, and how can we as mothers and fathers really protect our children, because it's about them, right? So it's about put your big girl panties on and your big boy drawers on, and let's do this for our child. We can do this. Some of the sentiments of the cards are like that. So just very unique, but I think very relevant.
I'm not going to tell you the name of the car company that I saw in my mind as soon as you said that. I have to write
Okay.
it down and tell you later and see if I was
Okay.
wrong.
Yes, please.
Because where do you counsel the kids and the teenagers?
Well, a lot of that work was mostly before COVID, but I would go to to ministries, different children's ministries, also community centers. I did some of my work with the what is it, YWCA, YMCA. I
Hmm.
also come into contact with teens often with my family coaching. So I have parents that will call me because they and their teenagers are at odds, and they really want to mend those relationships. And so I will sit with them. And I'm an advocate. You know, I listen to the young people. And that sometimes can be frustrating to the parents, because they think I'm going to come in here and tell their child, okay, this is how you should think, this is what you should do, blah, 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 blah. But that's not my approach, right? My
Yeah.
approach is to really listen, to support, to guide, to invite into another way of thinking, and or into an honest way of looking at where is the way you're thinking going to lead. Let's walk down this path in our imagination.
Where is the way you're thinking going to lead? Let's walk down this path in our imagination. Oh, I like that. That's very good.
Yeah.
When
And
you were
so, yeah.
when you were talking too, I was also thinking I could see you talking to people in the
Mm-hmm.
military families, because a lot of those relationships dissolve once the men come back home, because the women have been dreaming about them.
Yes.
And once they're there, it's a whole different thing. So
Reality, right.
yeah, yeah. So the world needs you. So let me ask you this, Navanya. Now, I on Heaven High, I talk about all things spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about past life experiences or near death experiences? Do you have any opinion on that at all? Any experience with
Right.
that?
Now, near death experiences, I am more in alignment with than past life experience necessarily.
Okay.
I am a scripture based girl. And so there is scripture to support that. I believe it was the spirit of Elijah visited again somehow. And I'd have to look that up or whatever. So that to me says that there is biblical evidence of past lives, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I have many friends in my sacred circle of friends who are very deep into past life, ancestral work, visitations, familial patterns, and so forth. Near death, though, I believe is something that more people experience than they realize. And I know that the clinical near death is your heart stopped or whatever. But there are also those very commonplace moments where someone was shooting and the person right beside you got shot and you didn't, or you were in an accident and the car is completely crushed, but you walked away with scrapes and maybe bruises,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those kinds of moments to me are when God shows very personal evidence that I am with you always, right? And I think it is that open door opportunity for people to really begin to prioritize their relationship and understanding of the divine, when you know that there's nothing of your own strength, nothing scientifically supported, nothing mathematically suggested that you should still be here, and
Mm-hmm.
yet you are.
Mm-hmm.
So now let me sit with that and see what is the energy of this thing that has happened in my life saying to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so those kinds of moments I think are extremely profound. And I've had those moments be prophetically revealed to me concerning clients. Like I can see some moment that they had when they were 17, or something that happened to them when they were in their early 30s, or blah, blah, blah,
Wait
those
a minute, wait a minute,
kinds
wait
of
a minute, wait a minute.
things.
You gotta elaborate. So you'll be having a conversation with a couple. You're talking
No,
to
more so one-on-one clients. Like,
okay.
I do the drama therapy coaching with clients one on one.
Yes. Okay. So
So, yeah.
go ahead. No, tell me what
So, in those moments when I'm doing my coaching, counseling, however you want to language that, I may be able to see experiences in their life that happened in past lives. So,
that's
I
the part
will,
I want you to
yeah.
clarify. When you say I may be able to see, you're sitting and talking, and does it just show in your mind? Do
Yeah,
you hear?
it's more like a teleprompter than it's like a teleprompter or the ear prompter, where I hear it in my consciousness, and then and so it may come out like, so there was something that happened to you when you were about 17 and it seemed like it displaced your family or you had to move. What is that, right? And then the person at that point will either confirm, which usually they confirm, um or sometimes I have to like beat the bushes, depending on
Pull it
what
out.
the thing is. But I found that spirit is very compassionate in that way, that spirit won't show me anything without their permission. So then once they give me permission through their confirmation or affirmation, then I can see more, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense because not that this is what you're doing, but people who call themselves psychics, not the fake ones, just the real ones, the ones.
Hmm.
But those people, they will tell you something and then they'll say, does this ring true? Do you understand? Can you agree? And if you say no or shut down, then they can't really. So spirit works the same way. That's so interesting with all of
Yeah.
with
Yeah. And
everybody.
sometimes people will think that's quote unquote fishing, but it's not. It is like I'm walking through your house. I don't just go into your kitchen and go into your refrigerator and go all into your bedroom unless you say, okay, girl, come on, yeah, you can go in there and get this, get that, blah blah blah.
Yes.
So your life experience, at least the way spirit deals with me, is similar in that way, right?
Mm.
um and it builds trust. It builds trust. It lets the person know that we're doing this together, because when you have an endeavor of collaboration, it gives collective ownership, right? And so now they can, this experience can live in their heart more than if I just sit there and tell them this is what happened, this is what it means, this is blah blah blah, like that. We've got to weave this basket together. That makes sense.
Mm. Is spirit telling you anything about me right now?
Not right now and no. So,
Just checking. Just checking.
okay. But
Wow.
you know, if I hear anything, I would definitely call and tell you, Ma. So, yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Wow. That is awesome and amazing. And it just all makes me so happy. It makes me happy. Well, do you have a rap song for us now?
Oh, goodness. That's what you're going to do, Tangie? A
Yeah.
rap song?
Let's 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 hit the whole thing for him. You ready?
No, I am not. And I don't remember the whole thing, Tangie. I'm going to tell you what I am doing now, though, since you mentioned this. Okay, so I have been being the MC for memorial services, which has been a,
Okay.
yeah, which has been a very unique thing to come up. And it's been such a blessing. I mean, people come up, they're like, oh, you made this experience so wonderful. And so, because I'll make jokes and I'll pull things from what people say, in their comments or what have you. But then at the end of it, I will get one word from like each table at the memorial service or each pew at the service. And then I'll make up a poem
On the spot.
on the spot from these words, right?
Okay.
So I can do that, but you have to pause for a second so I can get
Okay.
some pen and paper, write it down, and
Okay.
then I'm going to do it. And
Well,
this is what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you for 10 words that are inspired by your podcast. 10 words that come to mind when you think about your podcast. Okay. So I'm
ten,
I'm gonna get a piece of paper and then I'll be back. So pause it. I'll be right back.
10.
Amen. And I say,
Amen.
okay, give me my
Oh
10
my gosh.
words.
Can I just say, y'all, you can't see my producer, but we're going to do an episode with her because our last guest had a very similar prophetic word for her. God
Wow.
is like knocking down your door, angel. Thank you,
Oh,
Navanya.
wow. Amen.
Okay, I wrote down my words, and some of them were
Okay.
in one number. So number one, I wrote love.
Okay.
Number two, I wrote angels. Number three, I wrote heaven. Number four, I wrote alive. Number five, I wrote two words, faith filled. Number six, I wrote healing. Number seven, I wrote prophetic. Number eight, I wrote restoration. Number 9, I wrote confirmation. Number 10, I wrote chosen. And then 11 wasn't a number, but I wrote I am, and that's 2 words.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do these. It may not be in the order that you gave me, and in fact, I think I'm going to do them from the bottom up. But here we go. I am chosen for greatness to improve the situation, to offer insight and give confirmation that spirit is always purposed for restoration. There's a prophetic calling on my life that I have to give, be kind, be nice. I have to fall into that feel good feeling and offer to others this gift of healing because I am faith filled from the bottom to the top. I am alive and living won't stop. I've got this cute saying called heaven high. I've got angels that are constantly floating by. I am the one that you are thinking of. I am this gift on earth of love. I am called Tangie Ambrose.
Oh my goodness, I love it, and I love you, Nevaina. Oh my goodness, you are amazing. You are amazing. I am
I'm just a mirror because you are
gosh,
amazing
I'm
too.
so thankful for our sisterhood all these years. I'm so thankful,
Right.
Lavanya. I'm thankful for everything that you give to me, everything that you are. And I'm thankful because I do believe that we are a reflection of each other. And if I am anything, anything like you, girl, anything, if I just got like what you got, then I'm amazing too.
Indeed, you are. And I love you to life, for life.
You the life for life. Did you draw that in the background?
This?
Yeah,
No, I
just
didn't.
checking. Okay, just checking. Just checking. Navanya, tell my people how they can get in contact with you and all your amazingness.
Okay, so on all social media platforms, you can find me with I am Nevaina, and that's Nevaina. So it
Like lasagna.
sounds, yes, it sounds like lasagna, even though it's not spelled that way. And they can email me too at iamnevanya@gmail.com. And make sure that they put heaven high in the subject because that'll get you priority attention. Favor is fair, yo.
Favor. Favor, yes. I am so inspired by you. Let me ask one more question. Um, the blessings are rolling in. Have they always been rolling in? And have they always been rolling in?
Mm. I've always operated in a space of exceptional favor. People will do things for me and they constantly say, we don't do this doesn't happen. They never allow, right? So I don't want to dismiss that portion of blessing because sometimes you can get so used to operating in it that you don't recognize it as a blessing. You think it's just you. So I want to acknowledge that part. I was never really into like money and material things and like designer labels and all of that. I could go to the thrift store and feel just
Yes,
funky and
you can.
fabulous and we
Yes.
can whip that thing together, right?
Yes.
So the monetary part of blessing has started more recently. Because, I had to get over my mindset of, well, this is my gift. I shouldn't charge for it, or, all of that. And so
Yeah.
my prophetic place and my prosperity place are in the same place. And God is fine with
Oh,
that.
my
Right?
prophetic place. And I love that. My prophetic place and my prosperity
Prosperity place are
are in
in the
the,
same place.
and
Right.
God is fine with that.
So
Ooh.
that has released much more abundance for me in this now season. And we open for more. We always giving to keep our hands open so we can
Yes,
receive even more.
yes. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
my hands are up and out.
Yes,
Open to
indeed.
create, open to share, open to receive. I'm open to it all.
Indeed.
Ah, yay! I love you so much.
I love you too.
Okay,
I
we got
love you. Oodles and bunches and just crunches. Love you.
I can't wait to come back to this. Ah, okay. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we leave?
Just live your best life and allow yourself to be your greatest and grandest, because the way we are believing is the way we will be living, and we should be believing highly. So,
Believe it highly. Whew.
yes.
All right. Thank you for the drama free drama coach. Thank you. Thank you. I feel motivated, encouraged. I mean, like, once I get a man, if we have some problems, we'll talk. I just gotta whoa. You know, like I used to be able, I know I'm closing. I'm sorry, y'all, just a second. I used to be able to, I used to create. I would see what I wanted and make him happen.
Yes.
But right now I can't see him.
Right. I'm having that. Girl, I would keep a man. You and I both, it's been a drought. And they're telling me I got to move from Atlanta. And I'm actually considering it. But we'll
Uh,
talk about that on another
on another
show.
thing.
Yes.
But you know what well, Texas is a good place. So what I've been doing with regards to that is just again staying open and trying to stay out of God's way.
Amen. Yes.
Because there's still a lot of men in Atlanta.
They are. I see them everywhere. And I don't need but one. I'm a one man kind of woman. So I don't need but
Exactly.
one.
Only one. So
Right.
y'all can email too. We'll put Heaven High in the subject or you won't get through. And if you're watching Heaven High podcast, then I know you're a gentleman and you're polite
Yes.
and you're spirit
Indeed.
and preferably heterosexual.
Indeed. That's essential. Not preferably.
Right.
That's a must.
That's a must. Thank you very much.
Yes.
That's a must for me too. Thank you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
I love you.
You
Will you
too.
come back after I finish my coloring book? You're gonna come back.
Indeed. Call
Okay.
me and I will be here.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Devanya. Love you.
Heavenly bye.
I want to close
Bye.
with my rap. I
Oh,
am. I don't no, it's the one you did, but I don't have it. I should have been writing it down.
girl, you had to give me some more warning on that. You talking about, I can't, yeah, you have to, you're going to have to go back
Gotta
to the
write that down.
recording. Cause,
So here we go.
yeah.
Now is not the time for any wasted rhyme. It's time for a sister to drop a dime. We're in a state of emergency. Approach with urgency. Alarm.
Alarm. They're doing us harm. They trying to school us.
Use it. Do
Do
something.
something to us.
We must realize that the prize lies in our own. Our people are strong. You make us want to say, "What's going on?" She don't
You have
remember.
such a
Love you.
good memory. I don't. I love you too.
Bye.